of season 2 of Your Honor. Usually I do 5 episodes for these videos, but today I'm only gonna do 3. Today I'm gonna do 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Just because a lot is going on in this show, and I just don't have the mental capacity for it. Like, it took me a long time to get back started after I watched the first half of season 2, and today I watched 3 episodes, and that was just more than enough for me. But I didn't want to keep like dragging this on, so I'm just gonna do 3 episodes today, and then the last installment will be the last 2 episodes. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And before we start, I realized that some people who might be watching this video haven't actually watched the show, so I decided, it might be a good idea to give some trigger warnings for you guys. Trigger warnings for gang violence, murder, violence against children. What else do we have in here? Drug abuse. Yeah, I just, I should have given trigger warnings in all of these videos, but this is very new to me, so I didn't really think of it until just now. So I'm going to go back and put trigger warnings in the comments on all of the previous videos, and that was your trigger warning for this video. I'll also put it in the comments for this video as well. But yeah, so now that, with that being said, you guys know what you're in for. If that's not your cup of tea, I totally understand. I will not take offense if you do not want to watch this video. I appreciate you being here regardless. And yes, alright, so let's continue on. We left off in episode 5 where Judge refused to work for Rosie Perez, and we're calling her Rosie Perez once again because her name in the show is Olivia, and that's my name, so I'm just gonna call her Rosie Perez. So Rosie Perez wants Judge to help. He doesn't want to help. She put a bug on him and sent him to the Baxter house for a party, or the Baxter Hotel for a party, and obviously he didn't know the bug was there, so when he found it, he got really upset. She pretty much endangered his life because he ended up getting batted down, and if they would have found that bug, he would have been in deep doo-doo. And she was so, she had no remorse at all. She has no regard for this man's life, which is so crazy. But anyway, so at the end of episode 5, he says he doesn't want to work with her anymore. She says, well, that means you're gonna have to go back to jail. And she calls Detective Nancy, who we all know really wants to see Judge back in jail. And Detective Nancy comes and takes him into the precinct, and she's like, where were you the night that your wife was murdered, right? And so now I'm excited to uncover the mystery of what happened to Judge's wife, right? So episode 6, we open up, he's at the precinct with Nancy, and Nancy is basically accusing him of being involved with the wife's murder somehow, because he wasn't where he said he was when she died. He said that he was home, but really they found out that there was footage of him at her boyfriend's house. So we know that Robin was cheating on Judge. Robin is his wife, was cheating on him with a man. He went to the man's house the night that she was murdered. So they're finding that suspicious that he decided to omit that information, that he knew that she was cheating and decided to omit that information as well. So Nancy is kind of dragging it, I think. But they don't have any evidence on him, so they have to let him go. So Senator Grandma comes and picks up Judge from the precinct, and she asks what's happening, and he's honest with her. She's like, yeah, I had considered that for a long time, but you just don't have it in you. It's just not the type of person that you are. I had to let that go, which is great. I really love that she knows him well enough to know that he would not be capable of doing something like that, and she trusts that. That's awesome. So now they're talking about, Senator Grandma suggests that they go and talk to the boyfriend, Robin's boyfriend that she was cheating with, to get information, see what he knows, because why would he come forward after all this time, right? So they're assuming that it was him that told the cops that, they were dating, and, that Judge came to his house that night and all that stuff, so why now? So they want to go see him. Then we cut to, I'm going to call him Baxter Grandpa because I don't know his name, even though he's not a Baxter. He's actually Gina's dad. So Gina had called her dad to come oversee things in the Baxter organization because Gina has no faith in Jimmy, and just feels like he's doing everything all wrong because he's not doing it her way. So now Baxter Grandpa wants Jimmy to find an investment partner, to partner with an investor to help with the waterfront property and like building it, because he had made that deal with Charlie. So now he gets to run the property, but again, Senator Grandpa wants him to work with investors. And let me see. Yeah, so Jimmy's giving a little pushback, but Grandpa's like, you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, just sit with them and talk to them and see what they're offering, right? So then we cut to Desire. So Desire has all these drugs that is laced with fentanyl. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say these things on YouTube, but here we are. So they have all this stuff. They've got to get rid of it. The deal with the cartel fell through, so now they're just stuck with this stuff. They have no clean stuff to sell, and like I said, they have to just get rid of it. So their bright idea is to cut it up, meaning like dilute it even further. They put like baby powder or whatever it is that you put in drugs to dilute it, and they were gonna sell it just to get rid of it and hope that nobody died, because they cut it up like a lot, so it wasn't going to be very potent, but at least no one will die, hopefully, right? So then the plan is to sell these drugs outside of the city, so that if anyone does die from it, then it won't come back to them. So like all the corner boys have been told to like not sell to anyone in the city. They have to sell outside the city. And then, so that's one on their agenda. And two on their agenda is to send Eugene home because he's not needed anymore. They need to send him back to Texas because he's supposed to be dead. Okay, so then we cut to... So now, Senator Grandma and Judge are at this guy's house. They're at the boyfriend's house, Robin's boyfriend. They're getting information. They realize that he used Judge as the alibi because when the police came to investigate on him, because obviously he might have been a suspect, or I didn't understand that part, if he gave the alibi like now. Okay, so we find out that was it an informant, somebody who knew that they were dating, thought it would be important to come forward with that information somewhat recently. So someone else told the cops, it wasn't him. So the cops came to question him, and obviously they want to know where he was that night. So his alibi was that he was with Judge because Judge was at his house. He came to confront him. Oh, and the reason that he went to confront him is because he heard, so he found out about the affair. He heard Robin whispering on the phone and just kind of assumed that it was him that she was talking to. And then, he went straight to his house to confront him that same night, and then she ended up getting murdered. So they were together, so it couldn't have been either one of them. So that counts them both out, right? So they're each other's alibis, basically. And then we cut to Carlo's friend Joey is looking for drugs, and we know that he kind of got hooked on, because of Carlo, he got hooked on the fentanyl-laced stuff, that Carlo was the one who was actually selling it, and he was the one that sold it to Desire, and now they're stuck with it, and it's like killing people, so that's crazy. So yeah, now Joey's hooked on it. He's out in the streets looking for drugs, and like we said, nobody's gonna sell to him because they're trying to get rid of the supply that they have outside of the city. So then we got to... Okay, so Jimmy meets with the investors that Grandpa Baxter wants him to partner with, and basically they want to use the ports that are on that waterfront property to like do illegal activities like smuggling drugs and human trafficking and like all kinds of messed up stuff. And Jimmy is just like, he needs time to think about it, and like the investor kind of promised that he wouldn't like none of that stuff would stay in the city, because Jimmy's like, I don't want that kind of stuff in my city, kind of thing. And the investor was like, oh no, it's not gonna stay in New Orleans. But I feel like that's BS. Like that's not gonna happen. So then we cut back to Judge and Senator Grandma are investigating Robin's murder, basically. So they go to the place where she died, which is like a corner store or whatever, and they go inside and they talk to the clerk, and they're like, 2 years ago there was a guy that worked here, I think his name was KJ. He was an informant for the cop. Okay, I skipped a little bit. So when they went to go talk to the boyfriend, Robin's boyfriend or whatever, he told them that she was investigating some dirty cops because there were some murders happening, and they were blaming it on gang activity, but it was really they were finding out that it was really cops that were doing these killings. So she was investigating because she was a reporter, and people were starting to find out that she was looking into this. So there was an informant who witnessed everything that happened. So they go to this corner store and they are looking for this informant. The clerk is not really trying to help them, but then Senator Grandma comes and turns on her charm, and she's like, listen, do you have kids? Like, that was my daughter. I really just want to know what happened to her, kind of thing. And then they just kind of sit there. They just sat there until eventually the clerk ended up calling the informant KJ, and he shows up and she's like, go talk to them. And for some reason this dude is spilling all the tea. He told the name of the dude. Wait, where did we even get to that part yet? Because I don't want to skip around. This show, like, I feel like I've said this in other recaps before, but this show skips around a ton and it's so confusing to me. I don't want to get ahead of myself, so let me revert to my notes really quick. Yeah, so they find out that, the cops were executing people basically and then calling them gang killings, but there was never any proof that they were actually gang killings. So now Senator Grandma is back in the car with Judge and is basically saying like she never wanted them to get married because she knew Robin didn't love Judge, and that the only thing that was keeping her in New Orleans was probably this affair that she was having with this guy, and that there's nothing that Judge could have done about it, and that, well, that's really, really sad. I appreciate her for being so real. So then we cut to Fia and Mama Baxter are getting ready to go out, and they're leaving Baby Rocco with Carlo, which has red flag written all over it. And then we cut back to Grandpa Baxter is talking to Jimmy, and he's like, you think you're in control, but the difference between me and you is that your control is an illusion. And basically it was like talking down on him and saying that he's just a thug, and like he thinks he's better than everybody because he doesn't want to like bring drugs into the city, and he's trying to do things legally or whatever, and like completely disrespecting him. And then Jimmy comes back and he's like, you need to respect me, put some respect on my name, because my money is putting money in your pockets. My restaurants, my hotels, all this clean money is going into your pockets too. So again, put some respect on Jimmy's name. I feel like Jimmy's trying to be like a clean mafioso, which doesn't really make sense because he's like killing people, but also he's like trying to do better for the city. I mean, not really, he has his ulterior motives, but anyway, Jimmy is not as bad as the rest of them, I feel, or I don't know, I have mixed feelings. So then we cut back to Joey, Carlo's friend, the one who's addicted to the drugs right now. And again, he's in the street, he's looking for drugs, nobody wants to sell to him, so he goes to Desire's headquarters, which is where Eugene is. And again, Eugene is supposed to be dead, and the Baxters were looking for him before he was supposedly dead. So now, of course, he sees him in the window and he catches him at 4K, takes a picture, and for some reason he goes directly to tell Carlo. Now, if you remember, he tried to testify against the Baxters and then they try to have him killed. So I'm not really sure why he has any loyalty to them anymore, or like if he thought he was gonna get his job back or get money out of it, or I don't know what, but he goes directly to the hotel and he calls Carlo, and remember, Carlo, all this is happening and Carlo is upstairs with the baby, and he invites his little girlfriend from downstairs. She works in the hotel and his mom doesn't approve, but he invites her upstairs and they're like fooling around while the baby's sleeping. So then when Joey calls, he immediately goes downstairs because remember, Joey tried to rat his family out, so him and Joey are at odds. So as soon as he hears that it's Joey, he's like, bet I'm coming downstairs. He doesn't even know what Joey has to say. So he goes downstairs and he leaves his little girlfriend upstairs with the baby alone, and he immediately starts beating on Joey until Joey is like, Eugene's alive, I just saw him, look at the picture. And then so they both get in the car and they go to find Eugene. And then we cut to a scene where, let guys from Desire is now gonna take Eugene to the bus stop so he can go back to Texas. And when Eugene is getting in the car, why did he take his hood down? So now Carlos sees him clear as day. He's in the car with Joey behind them, and they don't see him obviously. And so he goes and they start following Eugene to the bus station. And Joey's like, I'll just ram him right now, run him over or whatever. And Carlos like, no, calm down. So they're in the car, la-di-da. And wait, am I skipping anything? Let me check. Okay, yeah, so they're in the car, each of them in their own respective cars, and Joey, I guess, took it upon himself to just ram his car into the Desire dude's car where Eugene was in. So they crash. It's like a T, and Joey goes flying through the windshield. I'm pretty sure he's dead at this point. Carlo gets stuck in the car. He can't open the door. He's stuck with his seatbelt on. The gun that he had that he was gonna use on Eugene went flying out the window, so it's out of his reach. And then in the other car, the dude, the Desire guy, he is passed out. He ends up being fine. He can walk and he's okay. He's like got minor injuries, I guess, but he's passed out. And Eugene is like crawling out of the back of the car, and he gets out of the car. He leaves all his belongings and he goes to the other car and he sees Carlo. He sees the gun on the ground. He picks it up and he aims it right at Carlo. And I feel so bad for this kid Eugene, but he's ready to shoot Carlo, and I'm ready to support him. I have to be honest, you guys. It's just a show. If this was real life, I would not be condoning this, okay? But in the show, yeah, go ahead and shoot that man, Eugene. Go ahead and do it, because all of the suffering that he's been through at this point has basically been because of the Baxters, and not directly, but still like enough to where you can have this one, bro. But again, last time he tried to kill Carlo, he ended up killing Adam. So anyway, so he's there. He's got his shot. He could have done it. He says to him, he's like, after everything that you guys put me through, you have the nerve to come and want to kill me. And then, he ends up not killing him. He leaves the gun, he drops it, and he leaves. Okay, then where are we? Okay, then we cut back to Judge and Senator Grandma talking to that informant that they met at the corner store. This informant is spilling all the tea for some reason. I'm like, this man is about to lose his life, because why? Why are you giving all this information? He told them that it was police activity, all these gang activities or whatever, gang killings they were calling them, that it was actually cops. Robin, like I said, was a reporter. She was investigating, and it was absolutely a cop that killed her. He saw the whole thing go down, and the cop's name is Beckwith. So we find that out from the informant, and then we cut back to, I don't think I mentioned, but while all this is happening, Gina and Fia went to the church to go oversee whatever the process for the baptism, and it seems like Fia is still kind of skeptical, but she's doing it for her mom for some reason, even though her mom is a terrible person. But I digress. We all do things. So they're on their way back, and they hear Rocco crying in the hallway, screaming, crying. They go inside, and it's just the girlfriend with the baby, and of course they're freaking out. They don't know what's going on. Where's Carlo? Poor girl. The poor girlfriend. She did not ask for this. So then we cut back to the car crash, and they take Carlo to the hospital, and the cops are investigating the scene, right? They ask the Desire dude who else was in the car with him, and he says nobody. But then here comes Rudy, our dirty cop, and he goes and looks in the car, and he pulls out Eugene's backpack, and he pulls out the sketchbook that has all of Eugene's sketches of what he's done in the past. Literally looks exactly like him. He's a very talented artist. And so now Rudy has this information. He knows that Eugene is alive. What is he gonna do with that? So now, for For some reason I said Senator Grandma is a great grandma. I don't remember why I said that. Fia is super upset that Carlo left the baby. Carlo ends up telling them about Eugene and why he ended up leaving the baby or whatever, which is definitely not an excuse, but okay. And then, so now all the Baxters know that Eugene is alive, so they're wanting to take action too, especially Gina, because you know she always needs her revenge. She always needs to show everyone who's boss. And Jimmy's just like, you know, I'll handle this or whatever. And Grandpa Baxter is there, and he snatches Jimmy up by his collar and takes him into the hallway. And he's like, you listen to me. You don't got nothing, bro. You don't got nothing. This is my house. And then Jimmy goes to his little redheaded minion whose name I don't remember again, even though they literally said it like 4 times in these last couple of episodes. Frankie, is that his name? Oh, it's Frankie. Anyway, he goes and he snatches up Frankie and beats him up, beats him to a pulp. Is he alive? I'm not sure. But yeah, so apparently he's fired because he's not doing a very good job at protecting the family, which I have to agree with. Then we cut to Desire Crew, and they were like filling balloons with the drugs that they were selling, right? And I guess one of the guys had taken the balloons to his house when he was like prepping them or whatever, and his younger brother ended up getting a hold of one and consuming like half of it, and he passed away, unfortunately. That's really, really terrible. And that was the only life that was taken from, you know, the drugs that they put out that they ended up cutting up. And of course it had to be someone right under their nose, which is really tragic. Yeah, that's really sad. So then then Judge goes to Nancy and spills all the tea about the killer cop information that they just received, right? And then we cut to the bus stop. Eugene's at the bus stop finally. And Rudy finds him. Right about to get on his train and shoots him in his shoulder, bro. And that is how we end episode 6. So now let's move on to episode 7. So now, Eugene is shot in the shoulder and he goes to Lee's house. Obviously he can't turn himself in because everybody thinks he's dead. If he turns himself in, either he's gonna get killed or he's gonna go to jail. So he goes to Lee's house. And then, so she's trying to get him help without having to take him to the hospital, which is impossible. But anyway, I digress. But then we cut to Judge. Judge is getting pulled over on his way to go see Nancy. Something sus is happening. It feels a little bit weird. They're calling it a parole violation. They're saying that he needs to be arrested because he doesn't have his license on him. He was driving Senator Grandma's car. It seemed like he was only going like 12 over the speed limit, which like it's not like a good enough reason to get pulled over. I feel like most cops are not gonna pull you over for that. So if it looks like I've repositioned, it is because my phone died and I had to go charge it. But like I was saying, something sus is going on with this arrest, right? You know, they're saying it's a parole violation. And so Judge gets out of the car and he sees the name tag on the cop that pulled him over, and it says Beckwith or Beckworth. What was it? Whatever it was him. So I totally lost my place. I'm so thrown off right now. Okay, yeah, it was Beckwith. So then we cut to the Baxters are going to look for Fia, right? And so they go to her hotel room, and the hotel room looks like, you know, someone's just left in a hurry. You know, she took all her stuff, she left some random stuff there, and it looks like she's gone, right? So there's some random things there. The baby crib is still there, and inside the baby crib is the baptism outfit perfectly laid out in the crib. She's so dramatic and I love it. Okay, so now we cut back to Beckworth, and he was looking for Judge, right? So Judge is in the back seat and he's cuffed and he's bringing up, you know, things about like the wife's case and stuff like that, you know, trying to egg him on, because at this point there's nothing to hide. He knows that Beckworth is about to try to kill him, right? So then we find out that the CI, I think his name was KJ, he told Beckwith everything that he told Judge. And so now, that's how Beckwith knew to go look for him. So then we cut to Rudy. So now Rudy is seeing that everything that he's working for is falling apart at this point because, how does he know that? Oh yeah, because of Eugene. Okay, so he goes to Big Mo and he's looking for info on Eugene, and Big Mo is basically like, you're on your own, bro, I don't know what to tell you. So then he calls security at the hospital, the local hospital, and sees, if anybody's been admitted with a gunshot wound. So he's been like back and forth on the radio, just trying to like get updates on everything. And that's how he found out that Eugene was missing, right? So he calls security at the hospital, and he finds Eugene. The call nurse at the hospital gave the wrong description of Eugene because Lee like asked her to help them out. Like his life was in danger and they just needed to save him or whatever. So she agreed, but then the security went and found out that she lied. So that's how Rudy got alerted, and then so now he knows. Now he knows where Eugene is. And then so he goes to the hospital and he sees Eugene, and Eugene, nobody's around him at that point. He's like trying to yell for help. And so he starts screaming his name. He's like, I'm Eugene Jones, Eugene Jones, I'm Eugene Jones. And then so Rudy like sees the commotion, he gets all spooked, and so he leaves and he calls Charlie, and he tells Charlie like, we're in trouble. And Charlie's like, who is we? I don't know what you're talking about. You took the ball for this. This is your problem. Yeah, so Charlie left him high and dry, and I'm wondering, where's Rosie Perez? Because Judge is about to get shot by this cop, and she's like nowhere to be found. But any other time, she's like right up his butt, right behind him. And then, so now Judge, they pull over. They're in this like nondescript area, and Judge is literally about to get shot by a cop, and Nancy pulls up. Nancy to the rescue, comes and shoots the cop Beckwith, and it's because Rosie tapped the phone. So just as I was thinking, where's Rosie at, she comes in clutch with the tapped phone that she gave to Judge. Sorry, my eye is tearing a little bit. So Nancy did not come to play. Okay, after she shot this cop, she wants information from him. She's like, unlock your phone. Scans his phone on Face ID. She's like punching him in his wound, and like, she's not playing games. She's getting the answers that she's coming for. She's like, who are you working with? So after she unlocks the phone, she realizes that it's Rudy. And then we cut to Lomo. Oh wait, I didn't even mention this part. Did I mention about the balloon? Yeah, I did, and the kid passed away. Okay, so now Lomo, remember Lomo got jumped out of Desire, but then he shows up to the funeral, or like the wake for the kid, and the guy, the older brother of the kid who passed away, is like, Big Mo doesn't care about us. She can't keep getting away with this kind of stuff. We might have to rally, kind of thing. So I'm wondering, is this gonna be like a Lomo versus Big Mo situation? Like, what's going on here? So then we cut back to Jimmy decides to compromise with the partners that Grandpa Baxter wanted him to partner with, and I didn't really understand how that compromise was going to help him, but whatever, that's his business. And then we cut back to Judge and Nancy, and they're on their way to Rudy's, and Nancy leaves Judge in the car, and she goes in and confronts Rudy on her own. And she finds out that it was actually Charlie who made the call to kill Robin. And now this part confused me because it seemed like Robin called Charlie to get she needed a cop. She needed someone who she could trust. So she called Charlie to get that cop. She was like, do you have a contact in the police department? And Charlie unknowingly sent Rudy, not realizing that she's literally investigating this guy. I guess he didn't put two and two. He was just trying to help out a friend. And I guess Rudy took that as, okay, I have to get rid of this woman because she's investigating me and I don't want to get in trouble, so now I have to get rid of her. And I guess he took that as a call from Charlie, but really Charlie didn't know how he was involved. He didn't know. He wasn't putting two and two. So Nancy goes and confronts Rudy. He knows that he doesn't have any way out at this point, and he goes and shoots himself. So now we cut to Lieutenant Cusack comes to the Baxters and he fills them in on the whole situation with Eugene. Or no, the Baxters called him because he was in the hospital. He was like, we have it under control now. Or he said, we got this now, because at the end of it, they're in the hospital with Eugene. He's not going anywhere. They're going to arrest him. They're going to take him to jail. So then Jimmy has Carlo take his little redheaded head honcho's place as like security or whatever. Judge goes straight to Charlie to confront him with this information, and then that's when Charlie says like he didn't realize, he didn't put 2 and 2 or whatever. And then we find out where Fia went. She's sitting on Judge's doorstep. So then we go into episode 8, and this is the last episode that I'm talking about in this video. So Sophia's at Judge's house, and he's trying to be really supportive. He wants to help her take care of his grandkid and all that stuff. And here comes Rosie Perez. She wants Judge to get Fia to flip on her family, on the Baxters, and Judge is not having it. He's like, I don't want to put her in that kind of danger. It's not worth it. She has nothing to do with it. So he basically told her to F off. And then here comes Gina. Big Mo is standing outside of her bar. She's getting ready for the grand opening. There's a big banner on the door, and here comes Gina and nearly runs her over with her car. Okay. And then we cut to Eugene. He's in jail. And Lee is asking him how much time he's willing to spend in jail. Like, he needs to start thinking about that because everybody knows that he did this. He's gonna get convicted, so he needs to take a plea. And Eugene is not really having it. He doesn't really understand. The defense lawyer wants Eugene to turn on the Desire crew and like give information on Desire, which I already know Eugene is not gonna do. And he says, we'll put him in protective custody and all that stuff. And if he doesn't take the deal, then he's probably gonna go to jail for at least 30 years, potentially. So Eugene is like, no, I'm not a snitch. I'm not taking this deal. You need to do better. And so Lee goes back to the defense attorney, and she's like, I have information on, Judge that could ruin things for the DA. All of the cases that you guys have closed in his courtroom will now reopen and have to be appealed. And he was like, okay, we don't want that. So if you're gonna blackmail me, you could lose your license for this. And she's like, bet, I don't want my license anyway. And whatever. So they come up with a different agreement that could potentially get Eugene only 10 years instead. Then we cut back to Big Mo, and she's at her grand opening. For some reason, I feel like her girlfriend, who's a singer at the bar, is like a goner. I don't know. She seems like she's in danger. I don't know what's happening. I'm getting a vibe. And then Gina shows up at the grand opening, and they have like this weird exchange. I don't know. It was like a peeing contest, but very weird exchange. And then the dude whose brother passed away, he was supposed to be, during the grand opening, he was supposed to be guarding the home base, the restaurant where they usually do their business out of, and he decided that he was gonna go destroy the home base. So he got some boys, they came and destroyed everything, stole everything out of the home base. They even went to all the trap houses and stole stuff out of the trap houses. And then we cut to Rosie Perez shows up at Senator Grandma's house, which is where Sophia is staying with Judge, and she's basically trying to convince Fia to turn on her family and saying that she needs to make her family's wrong, make right her family's wrongs, which this girl is 17 years old. That's so rude to say. And then Judge shows up. You're like traumatizing this girl. Okay, unfortunately my phone died again, so it is now the next day. I put the same shirt back on, and we're gonna continue. We're almost done with this video. So like I was saying, Judge comes in and super disrespectful that Rosie Perez is even pursuing Fia for this. She's like, your family has taken so many lives, and like it's showing her the crimes and all these things that they've done, and Fia's not involved with any of these things. Like, she knows that her family's involved in some messed up stuff. Like, she's heard all the rumors, but she's never actually witnessed it and seen it for herself. And again, she's a 17-year-old girl. She just spy on them. It's crazy. It's so disrespectful. Again, so judge comes in and he's like, I'm her attorney, she's a minor, you can't talk to her without me being here. But you know, we all know that he got his license taken away, so he can't possibly be her attorney. And then we cut to Big Mo found out that somebody, you know, hit their trap houses and their home base. So she goes and she checks, and you know, everything's gone. She goes and everything's broken, destroyed. She checks the safe, and the safe is empty except for a ring box where she had the engagement ring for her girlfriend. So she opens it up and the engagement ring is gone, but there's a balloon in there. So the homie who lost his little brother put that balloon in there as a symbol. So now she knows that it was him, which, like, I don't know why he did that. She's gonna come for him, but I guess he doesn't care. He's like ready for the war. And then let's see. Oh, and then the girlfriend shows up after she told her, like, stay where you're at, like, I'll meet you at the house kind of thing. She shows up, and now I'm even more afraid for this girl's life. Like, she does not need to be involved in this mess. Then okay, so now Judge talks to Fia privately, and he's telling her, like, you know, don't do this, like, you don't need this in your life. And he gives her Adam's full college fund, which was like, I don't remember the exact number, but it was something crazy, like $56,000 or something, or 500 something thousand. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but it was a lot, and she could be set for life with that, right? So he gives it to her, and he's like, go, like, get out of here, get away from this town, get away from your family. Then we cut to Gina and Jimmy. Gina says that, so Gina has this whole exchange with someone that she met at the grief counseling. She saw her in a coffee shop and she sat down and she talked to her, and she is so, like, tone deaf. Gina, like, I just can't stand this woman. But basically she gathers from this woman that she needs to, like, I feel bad for this woman because she has no idea what she just got Gina into, you know what I mean, or what she got into by kind of befriending Gina. She has no idea what she's just put into motion. But Gina basically, from their conversation, takes that she needs to take control, and her kids are her kids, and she should do anything to protect them. So she goes and talks to Jimmy, and she basically tells Jimmy, like, I'm never gonna love you. I'm never gonna love you again. It's your fault that Rocco died, and I'm always gonna resent you for that. And then we cut back to Eugene, and Lee goes to tell him about the plea deal, about him having to plead guilty in order to only get 10 years in prison. You know, she blackmailed the defense attorney or whatever, and she did all this work to get him this deal, and now he's like, I'm not gonna plead guilty, I want to go to trial. But you did it though. Like, I think Eugene is not understanding that in reality he did do the crime, regardless of what the reasoning was behind him. He is guilty. So, like, I'm really afraid for him. Like, I think he's gonna go to jail for his entire, like, for life, and I hate that. Like, if you just plead guilty, he doesn't want the world to think that he's a murderer, but he is, accidentally or not. Like, you did it. Anyway, so he wants to go to trial, and then we cut to a scene where a judge is talking to Rosie Perez, and he tells her basically that he'll help her as long as she leaves Fia and the baby out of it. So that is where episode 8? Yeah, that is where episode 8 ends, and that is the end of this video. There's only 2 episodes left, so stay tuned for part 3. Yeah, I hope you all have enjoyed this. I am starting, like, things are starting to come together, so I'm appreciating the show a tiny bit more. Again, I still don't really love the show, but I'm in it. We're in it together at this point. So again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it was somewhat relaxing or entertaining at the very least. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to watch the channel.